Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So I am a little bit late with this one, but it's the plan with me for February and it's still January, so I'll give it a pass for that. But this theme took me so long to do, and so I needed a little bit of extra time. But what exactly is my theme? So I think most of you already guessed it based on the thumbnail, but also right here at the sketch that I already began. It's Sailor Moon for February. And when I say that I wanted to do this theme for a very long time, then I mean I wanted to do it for a very long time. I just never had the month that I thought would fit best. But I have to say, for February, I think it was a perfect match. I think this whole setup turned out so cute, and it's also a little bit like Valentine's Day themed, matching Sailor Moon, and I think it turned out great. But let's keep watching. First, I started with the cover page as always, and I started by just drawing Sailor Moon and her cat Luna. And you might think, why did it take me so long to do this setup? Because it is basically easier to draw a manga figure than to draw a real human being or other art that I've done in my journal before. But I can tell you that Sailor Moon was very difficult for me because one, Sailor Moon is very much meaningful to me, but also I was just not happy with how everything turned out, and so this is actually the second version of this cover page. So I started already with a different sketch, but I hated it so much that I had to start all over again. And I said Sailor Moon is very meaningful to me, and I mean that because Sailor Moon was like the first anime that I've ever watched in my life, as a little kid already, and I just loved it so much. I have so much merchandise of Sailor Moon, I don't even know why I have so much, but my bedding is from Sailor Moon, I have other stuff from Sailor Moon, and I just always loved it. I still love it to this day, and actually Sailor Moon was like my first art experience. So the first drawings or sketches that I did were Sailor Moon drawings, and so this is why Sailor Moon has a special place in my heart, and I still love it to this day. And of course, Sailor Moon is not Sailor Moon. There are different versions of Sailor Moon, there are different animes, and also there's a manga, but this whole setup will be focused on the first anime that was, I think, in the 90s it came out, or early 2000s. This is the one that I grew up with and that I love so much, and so yeah, that's the theme. As you could see, for the cover page I just chose to draw Sailor Moon, or Usagi, or Bunny, how she's called in different versions. Sorry if I say anything wrong. The pronunciation might be a little bit different in different languages, but that's how she was called here. And also I drew, of course, Luna and a moon around it, and I let it February, and as you can see it's very pink, and this whole setup, spoiler warning, will be very pink. Since February is also the month of Valentine's Day and loved ones, I also thought this theme would be perfect because in Sailor Moon we have this big love story of her and Tuxedo Mask. Yes, I will say Tuxedo Mask because I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his real name. So yeah, I always loved their love story, and so I really wanted to include them also to my cover page, and so they got the quote page. Now I know, now looking back, that the relationship between her and Tuxedo Mask was not the most appropriate one since they have a big age gap, but I loved it as a child and I cannot change it, so please don't hate me for it. I know that it is technically a little bit wrong for a college student to be in a relationship with a high school student who's like, I don't know, I think she's in the first one like 14 or something. So yeah, that's not very much right. But yeah, for this cover page I just chose a quote that he says to her that I thought was very cute, and then I also added some stamps, and this was the first time that I ever used stamps on my bullet journal. I have to say, these ones are so pretty, and I think they go so well with the theme and with Sailor Moon. I just fell in love. So I think you will see them a lot, but you will also see them in other Plan With Me's, I'm sure. Next up now we're having, of course, the monthly overview, and if you've seen my January setup, then you might know that I want to change my setups a lot more, to try out more new things, because in 2021 I just used basically the same monthly setup over and over again. It worked, but I want to be a little bit more creative, and so this time we're having again a completely different layout and a lot of doodles of Sailor Moon, so I hope you enjoy that. I started by doing a sketch of her with this rose, and you will also see like a lot of roses in this whole setup, and in general just rose petals, hearts, etc. It goes well with the Valentine's theme, but also with Sailor Moon, because I don't know if you remember it or not, but Tuxedo Mask has this rose that he throws when he's there and he saves her, and so the rose is something that you see a lot in the anime, and so I thought it would be totally perfect for the whole setup for Valentine's Day, you know. So yeah, a lot of roses going on. I have for this monthly setup, I have like 3 spreads where I can write down stuff. I have goals as always. This time I also added a space for my monthly to-dos. I rarely do these, but I found it in January very helpful to have a general space where I can write down things that I want to do in this month, but that don't really have any specific time when I want to do it. And then I also have social ideas, which is just a spread where I write down like ideas for Instagram posts that I'm going to do. And so yeah, there's that. And then there's another Sailor Moon figure and a little quote which just says "Moon Prism Power Makeup," which is the slogan, you can say. It is like the thing that Sailor Moon says when she's going into transition, and yeah, I think that's very cute. On the other half of this page we have of course the little calendar for February. Underneath that we have my growth tracker, which is just a space where I can track my followers from Instagram, and then underneath that I have my content planner, which is just basically some space where I can write down which post I will post when, and it just helps me to be more organized. Then of course I did a lot of doodling and a lot of coloring. So I first started by outlining everything, and then as you can see it's again a lot of pink. We have some moons, so this whole setup has a lot of pinks and some yellows and greens, which is because of the moon and of the hair color of Sailor Moon of course. And a lot of stars, hearts, everything for the Valentine's theme as well. Next up we have the brain dump spread, which is a space that is just for me to have like random thoughts throughout the month and that I can just write down here, or like other spread ideas that might come up. And so here's my brain dump, and for the brain dump I wanted to include another doodle drawing, you could say. And for this one I chose the little Luna. It's the cat of Sailor Moon, and I think she looks so cute in this position. I think it's a meme online actually, but I just thought that it is just so cute and I love to look at it. And so yeah, here she is. I colored her in, and I think she turned out very cute and looks just perfect at this space, and it matches like brain dump, you know, like a space where I can write down things so I don't forget them. And she looks like, oh, something went wrong, or maybe she forgot something, so we don't want that to happen. So the Luna, you might need a brain dump. For the other page I wanted to do my habit tracker, and I love my habit tracker, but I wanted to change it up as well. So I wanted to go back to the basics, so to this like very original layout of the habit tracker, which was like the first one that I've ever tried, and I think it was like the original idea of the habit tracker, but I'm not sure about that, so please don't quote me. But yeah, so it's just sideways, and then I wrote down the different dates and did a lot of doodling. I have to say I don't know how I feel about this spread, because on the one hand I really wanted it to look a little bit messy and doodly, to be a little bit different, but then I feel like it's maybe a little bit too dark, a little bit too messy. I don't know if I love it or hate it. We will see after this month if I used it or not, if I like it or not. I like the brain dump page very, very much, but the habit tracker is like, I just don't know how to feel about it. But but I do in fact know how I feel about this weekly spread. So the first weekly spread for February was indeed a lot of work again, but I think it is perfect. I just love it. I just started by writing down February in a very easy font and then just giving it a little bit of a drop shadow but in white, and then there's another figure of Sailor Moon in transition that I thought was very pretty. Fun fact, I wanted to use this actually as my cover page, but then it just didn't turn out the way that I wanted, and also I didn't want to have like a black cover page. I could of course also done it like real, so draw her skirt and everything. I didn't need to do it in black, but then it just looked weird. So this sketch still has its place in my weekly spread, but not as my cover page. And for this very first weekly spread, I wanted to include a picture of one of the characters, and that is Ray. And that's because she's actually the one that gave me this idea to do a whole theme, because in my very first bullet journal, I think in 2018, I did a February theme just in pink, and I had this picture of her, and I liked this whole theme and spread so much that I really wanted to do a whole thing for Sailor Moon. And she actually was, as a child, my favorite character in Sailor Moon, and so I thought it would just be right to give her a special place in my bullet journal in the very first weekly spread, so that she has the honor, because she's the reason, and especially this picture is the reason why I am doing this one in the first place. On the other side of the spread, I then added the hand of Sailor Moon, which holds up her, I think, amulet, you could say. I don't know really what you could call this thing, but like what she holds it up, and then she says her like slogan, this like moon prism power makeup, which I also included underneath the eyes that I'm drawing right now. And so I thought it looked very cute, and it just looks very good on this whole page, and as you can see, it just gives something to the pink theme again. And that's basically like the whole setup of this weekly one. And then I just added another quote, which is by Sailor Moon herself, and then I also added a bunch of doodles, which you can see, but these are basically just the same ones that I repeat over and over again, so you can see the moons, the clouds, the stars, everything, and also the roses. I did mostly color them in pink because I just wanted them to go with the whole pink theme, but in the show, of course, there are red roses that Tuxedo Mask throws, so there's also one red rose that I wanted to include in the spread, just to give it more of the Sailor Moon feeling. And just overall, I can say I really like how the spread turned out, how the whole theme turned out, and I think really that this theme was perfect for this month, and I just love it. It might be one of my favorites at the end of this year, but I don't know what's going to come. So yeah, here you can see the first weekly of February. Again, as always, if you want to see more, you can always go over to my Instagram, because I will post the other spreads over there, and I will also post these spreads filled in. And so yeah, here we are with the cover page, the monthly setup, my brain dump, my habit tracker that I do not know how to feel about yet, and of course also lastly the weekly spread. As I said, I like it, I think it's cute. You can tell me what you think in the comments, and I'm so happy that you watched this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe I will see you soon. So yeah, have a nice day. Bye.